Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 18th December 2020. The first article for discussion is Sanctions Overreach. Overreach means you are stretching it beyond its limits. Here we need to understand about CAATSA Act. CAATSA mean Countering American Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. According to this, if any country is acting against the American interests, and America can punish them by imposing sanctions. Here, this CAATSA Act is coming in conflict with sovereignty of various countries. What is meant by sovereignty? Your freedom to make decisions on your interests. Let us take Turkey. It wants to import S-400 Triumph anti-missile defense system from Russia. United States of America says that it is going to damage its interests and it is going to punish Turkey on its CAATSA Act. It is imposing the sanctions on Turkey. See, do Turkey a sovereign country or not? Yes. It means it can define what its defense interests are, yes or no? Yes. So America trying to bully them and trying to impose sanctions against them, it is going against the principle of sovereignty of the nations. The second thing is, India is also going to get S-400 Triumph missiles. In this case, India do not have any kind of sanctions waiver. Is India is going to face these particular sanctions or not? We have to wait and see. This kind of attitude that if you don't listen to me or if you buy from my enemy, I'm not going to tolerate you, I'm going to punish you through sanctions, is going to distance the friends away from United States of America. Now, if you see the NATO itself, Turkey is a member of NATO and many cracks are appearing in NATO. It's all due to the Trump's inadvertent moves. Previously, NATO was seen as an important alignment to protect various countries, or all the members used to feel secure under the umbrella of NATO. No more such an environment is existing, and all the members are trying to fight, are trying to assert their positions, especially the Turkey. You saw Turkey-Greece issues in Mediterranean Sea, and then Turkey, what is the other country? So that is France, they have war of words recently. This shows that the cracks in NATO are deepening. So America has to shift its way of thinking and it has to accommodate the friends. If it pushes the friends to the wall, ultimately it is pushing them towards its enemies. That's how we have to see this as. Overreaching of the sanctions will not work beyond a point. Shackles and ties. You know, UK is coming out of the European Union. We use the word Brexit to explain that. After the Brexit, the major market of the UK goods, that is Europe, is going to decrease. And UK, London, is a financial capital and it is also going to lose its stream as the capital of the world, financial capital of the world. So UK is looking for alternatives. It is trying to expand its free trade agreements. In this context, Foreign Secretary of UK is visiting India. And Mr. Boris Johnson, UK's Prime Minister, is also expected as a guest during Republic Day functions. So, Mr. Foreign Secretary's visit, Mr. Reid's visit, India and UK thought about many things. One is converting the strategic partnership that both the countries have as comprehensive strategic partnership. This comprehensive strategic partnership is also going to cover military ties, and also intelligence, knowledge, Indo-Pacific policy of these two countries. Free trade agreement is on the cards. This free trade agreement is also called as Hurley-Orwest Free Trade Agreement. And further to this, India, UK still have certain differences. What are these differences? One is immigration policy. Boris Johnson government and India, they are not aligned with each other. When Theresa May was the Prime Minister also, the immigration was a big issue. And second, Indian people, certain people who haven't paid money to the banks, either Vijay Mallya or Nirav Modi, these are staying in UK. So exchange of these people involved with economic offences, whom we call as fugitives, economic fugitives, is another irritant. So what we have to see is, let us see the bigger picture of the relationship and move forward. These smaller irritants we shall keep away to make a bigger picture to realize that is the essence of article. Next is putting food at the center of India's nutrition agenda. See, NFHS National Family Health Survey 5, it stated that in India, wasting and stunting, this actually got worsened. The COVID-19 can be stated as a major reason. That is not a good news for nutritional development of our children. So wasting and stunting, it is nothing but measurement of growth. This is what we call it as anthropometry. On the other side, dietary intake of nutrients. Among these two, which is a better method to calculate the nutritional intake of India? So this anthropometry may not reflect the dietary deficiencies. Let us take anemia. Iron and folic acid deficiency is not reflected when we measure the anthropometry. So the dietary intake calculations, they will provide much specified data. What are the micronutrient deficiencies, macronutrient deficiencies, and it will also provide for very close monitoring. In this context, India has to develop a data towards measuring these dietary intakes time to time. So if many of the people who are normal by anthropometry, if we observe them, they may have anemia or other micronutrient deficiency. So development of data sets, it is critical to ensure the fight against this particular problem. In agri reforms, go back to drawing board. Let us see the mindset of an economist. What is the mindset of an economist? Why agro reforms are necessary? When this question is asked to an economist, the following can be seen. The first one is, the land holdings of India are very small. So improving the productivity is difficult. So that's why if we have to mechanize, then first we have to consolidate these land holdings. After consolidation, let's mechanize these land holdings. So mechanization will provide for increased productivity. This is the argument they bring in. So that's why corporate consolidation of the lands is required. Let us see the flip side to it. Once the lands are consolidated and huge chunks of lands are cultivated, then automatically leads to monocropping. Single crop will be sown and single crop will be raised. When single crop is raised, the diversity is affected and natural resources, either soil or water, everything will be depleted. Depletion of natural resources. And also crops vulnerability to pests will increase. Vulnerability to pests will increase. So in this context, economies of scale depend on standardization. Economies of scale, we have to standardize. If we want to produce more, then the standardization of production, the standardization of production takes us towards monocropping. So from this, if we have to respect diversity rather than standardization, we have to provide more amenities to the farmers. Small and marginal farmers shall go into the farm with their hands. Now the existing farm bills are damaging this particular thing. Hope you have understood this point. Next one is market access. In the market access, who gets benefited in the existing system? In the market access, who gets benefited is the large farmers and then large traders. If you take two experiments over here, one is Texas farmer who is sowing cotton. So he is a large farmer. When markets are interconnected, these large farmers and large traders who have deep pockets, they get benefited. Now coming to this productivity and production related, let us take forestry or a scientific forestry program in Germany. Scientific forestry. What finally observed is the existing forest which is diverse has been cut off and then trees for wood are being sown there. In this context, these trees over a period of time became vulnerable to the pests. So the nature has its natural ability to adopt. If you are removing that and imposing the technology in the name of productivity, mechanization or whatever, it is not going to solve the problems. Next is, if we have to produce on large, it is better to build the cooperatives. Cooperatives increase the bargaining power of the farmer. We have seen in the case of the milk cooperatives in India. So strengthening the cooperative structure will also increase the production and will also protect the diversity. Now many of the people are comparing whatever is going on now, that is whatever the reforms in agriculture, to the reforms that have happened in industry. In 1990s, reforms have happened in industry, and 2020 we have reforms happening in agriculture, or they are comparable. Here the government has acted on few against few industrialists. Here government is acting against many farmers' interests. So obviously, taking a political decision against a few industrialists is very easy, but it is not going to be easy in the case of the farmers. The second thing is trade licensing or industrial licensing, all these are the subjects in union list. But agricultural matters are in the subject of the state list. They are in the subject of state list. And most important thing is the 1990s reforms. These are happened with a lot of deliberation and preparation of the mind of the people. So 2020 reforms, the parliament and the stakeholder involvement is almost absent. So if any governance in a country has to run smooth, what is the most important thing? The trust of the people and the trust of the stakeholders. So that is our protection of this trust, enhancement of this trust, or maintenance of this trust is failed. So that's why the farm bills have attracted so much of controversy, explaining, nurturing a constituency, involving the parliament, clearing the doubts, submission to the committees. All this will ensure major involvement of the stakeholders. The parliament appears to have failed in this context in India now. The existing stalemate is a reflection of the parliamentary failure. Next is, what challenges do online classes pose? So the learning deficiencies are decreasing or increasing with online classes. The first is, we have digital divide, availability of internet is important, and the digital tools like soft phones or else tablets etc. are important. If right to education is a fundamental right, right to have access to these digital tools also has to become the fundamental rights. As internet is delivering the most of the services, Kerala High Court also have said, internet is a basic right to the citizens, a new right to the citizens. And then the learning has to be effective. Learning can be effective if they are connected to the real world and if there is an engagement. So a two-way engagement and connectivity to the real world has to be established. And also learning happens in a serene environment rather than in a disturbed environment. So at home environment may not be serene for learning. And online systems cannot alone improve the education. These have to go along with the chalk and talk systems. It means regular classroom programs. And digital space, is it secure for a child? The digital space has many anomalies. So making the digital space secure, especially for girl child, is important. Digital technologies can be empowering. At the same time, it is also vulnerable. So improving the digital space security for the girl child also need to be made. And next is, humanities need to be tested. These humanities online assessments are very difficult for humanities. These all, if it has been improved, online classes are expected to improve. The next article is converting waste to energy. Karnataka government established a plan to process 600 tons of waste and bring in 11 megawatts of electricity per day. So inorganic materials, they have energy in them. So these can be used to produce the electricity. In this scenario, this inorganic material converting waste to energy can be a solution for dump pits. Most of the waste it is dumped today. So these dumping sites can be done away with if we are able to convert inorganic material into energy. This is the second thing. The third most important thing is everything right? It appears to be a grand plan, but can it be successful? What are the challenges it is going to face? The first is, the inorganic material which is going to come, it shall have certain qualities. That is, the levels of precipitation, soil, silt, have to be within normal limits, less than 5%. But in India, inorganic waste consists of more silt, soil, and all these things, moisture, etc. And the second is separation at source or segregation at source. It means we have to separate the organic, inorganic material at the source. In India, it is not followed meticulously with discipline. And finally, observe, what is the cost of production of this electricity? It is going to be double than the existing thermal energy. So if we see the holistic view, so that is dumping and then making the sites clean and producing the electricity from the plastic, this appears to be a good model. But if you see just from the cost of the electricity is being produced, then this model appears to be ineffective. Farmers have the right to continue protest. So right to protest is part of our constitution. It is a form of expression of speech. In this context, the right to protest shall not cause violence or shall not violate the rights of others. If roads are being blocked, it is going to violate the rights of others in the form of obstructing their freedom of movement. Mamata refuses to allow officers to go to center. Let us understand this article. Mamata Banerjee, she don't want to relieve the IPS officers whom center has recalled. See carefully. JP Nadda, when he was visiting Bengal, some people have attacked him, and the government of India wants to make IPS officers answerable for this. Mamata Banerjee said it is just provocation that has led to this, and if officers are being recalled and punished, it will undermine the state government's authority and it will lead to the loss of confidence of the officers in the state government, and before elections it may not send the right signals. The political power, political fight, it is creating an issue in federalism. It is creating an issue strain in the center-state relations that have to be avoided. The officers shall not come into the crosshairs of political parties. This will decrease the morale of the bureaucracy. That's why I took this point. These are articles for today. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Yesterday, I had a lot of hectic work, so I was unable to do the video. Sorry for that. So, thank you very much. Have a great day.